Humans like to believe they are in control, that emotions stay within clear limits, that the mind decides what is shown and what is held back. But then something happens. A moment becomes too heavy or too meaningful, and the body interrupts. The voice tightens, breathing shifts, and tears begin. Why does this happen? Why does something so physical appear exactly when control starts to weaken? And why not only in pain, but also in moments of deep happiness? The answer is not sadness. It is limits. For most of human history, the individual was never enough. Survival depended on others, on being seen at the right moment, on being understood without delay. In small groups, silence could be costly. Hiding distress could mean not receiving help. Waiting too long could be dangerous. Emotions were not private experiences. They were signals that moved through the group. Crying emerged inside that system, not as weakness, but as a threshold. Not, "I am sad," but "I cannot carry this alone anymore." And for that signal to work, it had to be reliable. If it depended fully on conscious choice, it could fail. It could be suppressed out of pride, delayed out of fear, hidden under social pressure. So evolution placed it at the boundary between control and loss of control. It can be resisted, but only up to a point. When intensity rises beyond a certain level, the system shifts. Control weakens. The signal activates. That is why people say, "I didn't want to cry," and yet they do. Because in critical moments, the body does not fully trust restraint. Crying also changes the behavior of others. Across social mammals, signals of vulnerability reduce aggression. They invite care instead of attack, attention instead of indifference.
In humans, this became more refined. Tears, facial tension, a broken voice, a slowed posture. Together, they form a pattern that is difficult to ignore. A pattern that says, this person is not a threat. This person needs support. In ancestral groups, this could shift the entire dynamic. It could prevent conflict. It could trigger protection. It could keep someone inside the group. At the same time, crying is not only social, it is internal. When emotional intensity rises, the body enters a state of high activation. Heart rate increases, attention narrows. The system prepares for action. But not all situations can be solved with action. Some require endurance. Some require acceptance. Some require waiting. Crying appears at this boundary. Breathing becomes irregular, then deeper. Muscles release. Energy begins to drop. It is not instant relief, but it marks a transition, a movement away from overload. Then comes the paradox. Why cry during happiness? A reunion after absence, the birth of a child, an unexpected moment of love, a long-awaited success. These are not negative events, but they are intense. The brain does not organize experience as simply positive or negative. It organizes by significance. What matters is not the label, but the impact. How much it affects connection, survival, meaning. When that impact becomes too large, the same threshold is crossed, and the same response can appear.
Crying is not tied to sadness. It is tied to overflow, to the moment when experience exceeds the usual structures of control. From this perspective, crying during happiness is not an error. It is the system doing exactly what it was designed to do, responding to magnitude, responding to importance. But the modern world is different. It is large, anonymous, often competitive. Reputation matters, image matters, control matters. So attention appears. One part of the mind tries to maintain composure, to stay functional, to remain acceptable.
Another part, much older, monitors internal limits. And when those limits are crossed, it acts. Not politely, not strategically, but effectively. That is why crying can feel like betrayal, like something inside is disobeying. But it is not disobedience. It is priority. The system is not asking, is this appropriate right now? It is asking, is this too much to handle alone? And when the answer is yes, it signals, even if the modern world does not always respond well. We live with a brain shaped for small groups, in environments that no longer match those conditions. And yet, the system remains. Because evolution moves slowly. And because, even now, the signal still works. Tears still change how people react. They still create pauses. They still open space for connection. In the end, crying reveals something simple and difficult to accept. Control is limited. Intensity has consequences. And some experiences, whether painful or beautiful, are too large to be carried in silence.